This is Fresh Air. I'm Terry Gross. The breakdown of the American-European alliance in the days leading up to war, with Russia siding with France and Germany against the U.S., is one of the unpredictable ways in which world politics have changed since the end of the Cold War. We invited William Taubman to talk with us about the current state of U.S.-Russian relations and to talk about his new book, Khrushchev, The Man and His Era. It's a biography of Nikita Khrushchev. During the years he was the Soviet leader, 1954 to 64, Khrushchev provoked the two biggest crises of the Cold War, the constructing of the Berlin Wall and the Cuban Missile Crisis. Taubman started researching his biography in the 80s, before the collapse of the Soviet Union. After the collapse, he gained access to newly opened Soviet archives. Let's start with the state of current relations. The Russian parliament has postponed its vote on a bilateral nuclear arms treaty in an expression of anger toward the U.S. and its decision to go to war. Had the Bush administration gone back to the Security Council for a vote, Russia was prepared to veto it. I asked William Taubman why Russia was willing to veto the resolution.
It may sound strange to put it this way, but I think the main reason Russia said it was willing to veto was that France was willing to veto. I think if France had ended up on the American side and the only or the main veto had been Russia's, I'm not convinced it would have done it. In fact, I doubt it would have.
Why?
Well, you know, after 9/11, Putin made a decisive break with the past pattern of not only of Soviet but even of Russian foreign policy, and he cast his lot with the West. This was not a popular move in Russia. There was opposition in the Russian elite. I don't think it was popular among the mass of people, but he did it anyway. And he did it because he believes that Russia's future is with the West and that the West can help him in his own war against what he regards as terrorists in Chechnya. And so, in a way, I think it's a surprise that he ended up opposing the United States on Iraq. I think he would have liked not to have. And I think if he'd been the only one, he would not have vetoed it in the end, because France gave him the cover to do what was in his interest at home. I think it was politically useful for him to be seen as standing up to the United States because of the opposition that I mentioned to his moves after September 11th. So I think it's more a political opposition based in his concerns about his own public at home, although I don't think he would have been keen for the war in any event, but I think he would have gone along with us if he were alone.
No, Putin has been dealing with Chechnya, and he describes